This is how 87% of people wear an N95 mask. If yours looks anything like this, you're not protected. A validated fit test study in JAMA Network Open found that only 12.6% of regular people can actually put an N95 on correctly. Wrong straps, gaps along the skin, loose nose clips. I'm Dr. Zaid Fadul, founder and CEO of Bespoke Concierge MD. Over the next 10 minutes, I'll show you exactly what works and what's marketing nonsense. And in about 6 minutes, I'm going to put a mask on someone with zero training and show you on camera exactly where most people fail. But before we talk about how to wear one, you need to understand what's actually happening inside that piece of plastic, because it's way smarter than it looks. Okay, let's dive in. By the end of this chapter, you'll know exactly why an N95 filter is better than anything else on the shelf. The name is a code. N means not resistant to oil. 95 means it filters at least 95% of airborne particles at 0.3 microns, tested with sodium chloride aerosol at 85 liters per minute, which simulates hard breathing. Certification comes from NIOSH, and because NIOSH is a federal certification, counterfeits are everywhere. You can check the CDC's NIOSH certified equipment list before you buy. An N95 doesn't work like a coffee filter. It uses 4 physics mechanisms at once. Impaction, bigger particles slam into fibers. Interception, mid-sized particles brush and stick. Diffusion, tiny particles zigzag and hit fibers. Electrostatic attraction, a charged electric layer pulls in the hardest to catch 0.1 to 0.3 micron range. That's why an N95 actually filters better for particles smaller than 0.3 microns too, including most respiratory viruses. The common mistake here, assuming every mask labeled N95 on Amazon is NIOSH certified. Most aren't. Let's settle on whether N95 masks really work with actual data. By the end of this chapter, you'll know which mask to grab for which situation. Here's what the peer-reviewed evidence shows. A California MMWR test-negative case control study found N95 and KN95 wearers had an adjusted odds ratio of 0.17, or roughly 83% lower odds of infection. Surgical masks cut it to 0.34. The Chu Lancet meta-analysis showed N95-style respirators were dramatically more protective than other masks. The ranking goes like this. N95 offers the best protection. It has head straps and is NIOSH certified. KN95 goes by a Chinese GB 2626 standard. Surgical masks provide a loose droplet barrier and no seal. Cloth is the lowest form of protection, but it's better than nothing. One trap, valved N95s. The valve feels great, but releases unfiltered exhaled air with highly variable source control performance. If you're looking to protect others, skip the valve. The common mistake here, buying KN95s for a hospital visit or a high-risk exposure when you need a tight seal. Now, buying the right mask is step one, but here's where almost everyone gets it wrong. How long does an N95 mask last? And can you reuse an N95 mask safely? By the end of this chapter, you'll know exactly how many times you can wear the same N95 without losing protection. Technically, N95s are single use, but the CDC allows up to 5 donnings per mask unless the manufacturer says otherwise. Here's a stat that will change your habits. One fit study found 60% fit failure after just 2 donnings and 90% failure after 4. Every pull off and pull on damages the seal. The thing to remember, extended use beats repeated use. Continuous is safer than on and off. So if you're on a long haul flight, put it on when you're ready to keep it on, like after meal service. Also, never wash an N95. Water destroys the electrostatic layer. Toss it if it's wet, dirty, deformed, hard to breathe through, or if the straps lose stretch. The common mistake here, taking the mask off to drink water on a flight, then putting it back on. Every cycle costs you seal integrity. None of this matters though if the mask doesn't seal. So let me walk you through how to wear an N95 mask correctly, and then I'll show you live. Modeling shows leakage around the mask matters more than the filter itself. A poorly fitted N95 can protect you less than a properly worn surgical mask. My clinical checklist. Step 1, wash your hands. Step 2, inspect for broken straps or tears. Step 3, cup the mask over your nose and mouth. Step 4, bottom strap below the ears, top strap above the ears, never both together. Step 5, mold the nose clip firmly across the bridge of your nose. Step 6, use a seal check. Cover with both hands. Inhale sharply. If air leaks at the edges, readjust or discard. Facial hair along the jaw or chin breaks the seal. And one more nuance. Fit test data shows female wearers and some facial structures have higher baseline leakage rates, which makes the seal check even more important. The common mistake here, skipping the 15-second seal check because the mask feels fine. Okay, talk is cheap. Let's actually put this on a real person and see what happens. Brian, come on in. Brian Gratz is joining me in the office. No medical background, no prior fit training. Basically, he's who the 87% statistic is talking about from the intro. Here is your N95.
Let's switch sides and I'll stand
Yeah, why don't you?
right here.
All right, put it on the way you normally would.
Okay.
You good?
This feels great.
Can I check?
Please.
All right, because you definitely failed. All right, so watch the camera. Top strap is sitting below his ears. That's the most common mistake in the JAMA study. 73% of failures came from incorrect strap placement. All right, look back at all right, the nose clip. Did you even pinch the nose clip? All right, the nose clip is barely pinched. All right, let me pull out my phone and just show you how goofy you look right now. I'm not saying you look stupid. I'm just saying that isn't how you're supposed to wear it.
It is
all right?
wrong.
All right, let's see. All right, let's fix it. Ready?
Okay.
Top strap up and over your top ear, even at the crown of your head like that. That's where I want it. Okay, the bottom strap is down along the base, so you had a good placement there. All right, so pinch the nose clip firmly with 2 fingers, not one, and shape it to the bridge of your nose.
Okay.
Does that feel tight?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a big difference, right?
Big difference.
Yeah, now I can't see the gap anymore that I saw. All right, Brian, now cup both your hands gently over the mask. Take a sharp inhale.
Feels like I have a really good seal around my face suddenly.
Okay, did the mask move when you breathed?
The mask did move inward when I breathed.
Okay, that's negative pressure. That's what we're looking for, okay? If he felt air rushing along the cheeks or nose bridge, we'd readjust or swap the mask. This 15-second step is what separates 95% protection from maybe 50%. So we did it in like 5 seconds, but I want you to take a couple breaths in the future, and really for everybody, take a couple breaths in the future, make sure it holds. It's kind of equivalent to scuba diving when I used to wear my masks. Mm-hmm. If I could take a gentle breath in and the mask kind of sucked to my face, I knew I had a good seal. It's the same with this N95 mask. The whole point, we're keeping bad stuff out and only bringing air that's filtered in. So we don't want it coming in from all these different sides. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
You look marvelous, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Pop quiz, you ready?
Ready.
Were you paying attention?
I think so.
All right, so you're gonna go on a long flight to Argentina. Then you're gonna be on that plane for 12 hours. Mm-hmm. You bring your mask. How many times can you take it off during that flight?
1 time.
Technically, the CDC says 5.
5 times.
I'm telling you, you're allowed 2 times, and that's it. Okay, I want my patients to be safe.
Before you need a new one.
Exactly, because the seal starts to break every time. In fact, why don't you take the mask off? When patients take the mask off, what happens is the seal starts to weaken, the straps start to get loose, and it loses a lot of that negative pressure that builds up from a really tight fit. So
take it off 2 times only.
Max, right? So don't put it on until you're ready to put it on, okay? So like if you get on the plane, what happens usually within 30 minutes of getting on the plane?
Put it on.
Drink service, meal service.
Drink service, meal service.
And then I want you to put it on.
Got it.
All right. Let's answer the question. Patients over 50 always ask me, N95 mask side effects. Is wearing this thing safe for hours at a time? By the end of this chapter, you'll know who should and shouldn't wear an N95 long term. For healthy adults, yes. The American Heart Association confirmed N95s don't meaningfully affect blood pressure, heart rate, or aortic hemodynamics, even in people with cardiovascular disease. Oxygen and CO2 stay in normal ranges during moderate activity. Real exceptions include patients with severe COPD, severe heart failure, or unstable angina. Some patients report headaches with prolonged wear. Others develop anxiety, claustrophobia, and panic attacks, which is more pronounced with longer use. One more group worth naming, a 2025 randomized crossover trial showed N95s produce measurably higher physiologic stress in individuals with higher BMI over 4 hours of continuous wear. If metabolic health is on your radar, that matters. If you're experiencing any of this, take air breaks every 1 to 2 hours in a safe environment. Just remember, every time you take the mask off, you shorten its lifespan. The common mistake here, pushing through discomfort for 6+ hours instead of swapping in a fresh mask after a planned break. Let me close with a 30-second cheat sheet and a next step if you want this level of medical guidance applied to your life. Your takeaway, N95s filter 95% of particles if they fit. Check the NIOSH stamp. Strap top above the ears, bottom below. Seal check every time. Rotate 3 masks 72 hours apart, max 5 donnings each. My preference is 2. Skip valves if protecting others. If you have severe lung or heart disease, loop in your physician before long wear. This is the kind of evidence-based guidance we give our patients every day at Bespoke Concierge MD. If you're tired of 7-minute rush visits and Google diagnosing your own symptoms, concierge medicine is a different model. Direct text, phone, and video access to your physician, same-day appointments, deep preventive workups, and honest conversations about respiratory health, longevity, and prevention. Bespoke is built for people who value their time, take prevention seriously, and want a physician who actually knows them. Click the link in the description to book a discovery call with Bespoke Concierge MD. Memberships are limited on purpose so every patient gets the time they deserve. Subscribe, drop your N95 questions below, and stay healthy.